we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Wednesday, May 27th. It's Hump Day, Todd Leary. We're halfway through the week already, which is awesome.
I mean, how do you judge it? I don't even know. I mean, it's all one big process.
If I didn't write it down every day.
Yeah, I know. I say that every day because truly every day it catches me by surprise. But today I could not have told you it was Wednesday.
Yeah, I can't believe we're this late into
May. I mean, it's Monday's what, June 1st? I mean, half of the year.
It's nuts. I mean,
has it so to you, has it been the longest year ever,
no.
the longest half year ever, or the shortest half year
Unbelievably ever? Shortest. I
think so too.
It's crazy, and haven't done crap hardly for the last 3 months. It's weird. Life's
crazy.
A weird
it's
thing. Lots of stuff going on. Dustin DePerrick's going to join us today. He had a nice piece out yesterday, but we always like to have Dustin on talking about some Christian Lander. We'll talk some IU basketball, as we always seem to manage to do that. Possible rotations next year, starting lineups. A lot of people are getting excited out there with, I think this guy's. I'm like, wait a minute. I saw people discussing this. I'm like, whoo, we're going to have that discussion tomorrow. Last night, a little more NASCAR action. I know you were on the edge of your seat again. The truck race happened. Chase Elliott, who got wrecked by Kyle Busch a few races back, won the truck race, and Kyle Busch got second, which is kind of funny. But lots of NASCAR, man, to keep us going for the next while. They're back this weekend. Todd's down at Augusta again. It sounds like those fake bird noises. It's amazing.
I am really enjoying the morning temperatures.
I'm telling you, it is here at Buck.
If it gets overwhelming, let me know, because there's a lot of foliage behind me here where birds are enjoying.
Hello, fans. Welcome to Butler Cabin.
No, hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Butler Cabin.
How long before Tony Romo will be doing the Masters broadcast with him? I mean, those two guys are inseparable.
Oh, man. Yeah, awesome stuff. Major League Baseball trying to get back to play, but the players are not happy right now because they're looking at they proposed a half year schedule, 82-game schedule, whatever it was. But the Major League players, the guys that make the most money at the top, are looking at getting their salaries cut a lot. Mike Trout makes the most, $37 million. He would only make $19 million, and they're not happy about it. Oh, those poor souls.
Well, I mean, it's very difficult to feel sorry for them, and I'm saying all of the athletes in general. I mean, they would do themselves a ton of benefit by, one, either just keeping their mouth shut or coming out and saying, hey, I'm donating, I'm losing half my salary, I'm going to donate another half of it to a charity or to whatever else. I mean, this is not a normal circumstance, obviously. And so they can't expect to be paid normally. I mean, look at the unemployment rate and what it's at. And you've got that many people across the country that read something about you're only going to make $19 million for the year. That's not acceptable for you to be upset about that.
No, it's not. It really, really isn't. And you'd think now, I know that they can't let the owners just ramrod them through, because there may be the owners say, screwing them. Hey, we should make more doing this. And if that's the case, that's the case. I don't have a problem with that. But they're going to have to accept the fact that this is unprecedented times. And, I'm so sorry. You're just not going to make stupid money for 1 year.
Well, here's where I think if you can answer this question and say, no, I would not have been okay with that, then maybe we're just on different pages. But if you'd gone back to these guys as high school baseball players or baseball players playing travel baseball back in their teens, and you just said to them, hey, at some point in time in your career, you're going to be making $37 million a year, but there's going to be a worldwide pandemic that takes place. And in that year, you're only going to get to make half your salary and only going to get to make $19 million.
Oh, that's great.
Would you take it? Would you still be okay with doing that? There's a kid in the world I can't possibly imagine that would ever say, oh, no, that's not acceptable to me. I wouldn't take that.
Yep.
But after they become entitled professional idiots, all of a sudden that doesn't make sense to them anymore.
It's the truth.
I lose my mind when it comes to.
No, it's the truth. You're speaking the truth, Robert Carter. We need the truth on this morning, man. That is it. It's things got out of control, and then it stayed there. Well, now there's something that's brought everything back, and the big kids just aren't liking it. It's tough luck.
I mean, there are so many really positive things that they can do. And look, here's kind of the point of a lot of these things is right now, when you hear the comment, I mean, what do you keep hearing all the doctors and all the people say, hey, we're in this together. We're all in this together. Well, it's time for everybody to kind of step up and do whatever they can. Some people's what they can is not very much. Some people's others is an enormous amount. And for I shouldn't say a guy like this, I want to single him out, but for professional athletes to not be the ones who sit there and go, okay, hang on a minute. Things are all going to be different. Those guys would be lucky to get $19 million. They'd be lucky to get $9 million. They'd be lucky to get anything. It's embarrassing that they would come out and be upset with the fact they're having to take a pay cut.
Absolutely. I don't know what they're thinking, because there's not going to be games with fans in the stands and all these different places. Games. There's no hot dogs being sold, no popcorn being sold, and no beer being sold, no tickets being sold. Where do they think that their salaries is manufactured out of thin air? I mean, there will be some TV, but TV is a portion, and it's been cut drastically because of all this. So I don't understand what they think, that they're just going to magically produce the money that they paid those salaries with, when the things that cause that aren't there. It's idiotic.
And early on, I mean, look at how good it felt early on when you had NBA players and Mark Cuban and different people stepping up saying, okay, hey, you know what? We're going to cover the salaries of the vendors and the people that work in our facilities and those things. We're going to cover those salaries, even though they're not going to get paid. And we're not going to be having games and doing our normal stuff. That felt so good, and everybody was kind of stepping up. And now a lot of that's going away, and people I keep saying people. We're reading about athletes that are now not looking at it that way. That guy should have easily said, or all of them should step up and say, hey, you know what? Take 10% of my salary away and make sure that you pay all the people that work, at the ballpark, and all the people that aren't getting the opportunity to sell those hot dogs and make a living and just to feed their families. I mean, it's embarrassing when they make a statement like that.
I agree. It's crazy, man. I mean, and think of how many families and the people that are still affected. Restaurant worker. It doesn't matter what you are. Every business. I might even start listing restaurant businesses. It's just people that have been affected and just trying to live and trying to get by. And I'm only going to make $19 million. It's not acceptable. It's that time to let that one go there, brother.
You're
Mike
a bad
Trout.
human. Yes. Bad human.
I like that. Yes, right. Boom. We need a stamp. You're a bad human. Boom.
Bad human.
Perfect. I agree. Could not agree more. Let's see. What else was? Oh, yeah. Man, I missed this. Jimmy John's, get this ready. I wish to gosh I'd have seen this on Monday. I missed it. Aaron Rath is a great dude. I've been recreating anytime I recreate a logo, he's my hands. I'm the eyes. I tell him exactly what he wants, and he helps me create that. We've been working on a new logo. But his daughter on Memorial Day put out I wish I had seen this, but a nice little audio version for it's still great to hear. Jimmy, if you're ready to that, just let her go. You're not ready for that, so don't let it go. I tried to give you a nice long setup there, so boom. Okay, so we'll just keep on talking.
What's okay? So you kind of set it up, but what is it? An audio version?
Patriotic, very patriotic. Jimmy's killing me here, boy. Producer's just killing me. Nice,
Producer
beautiful
Jimmy.
setup. This kid, this little girl's been looking forward to this, and it's going to be awesome.
Can we just not hear it, Jimmy?
Put your hands over your hearts.
Well, you got to start it over, Jimmy. You can't just let it run.
They
while
can
we're
hear it,
talking
Jim.
about
Just we can't hear it.
I know.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight that's gleaming, whose buck stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran clear, the bonfires singing air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Play ball!
She went Aretha Franklin on us there.
I'm telling you, buddy. A little A there. Aaron's daughter, thank you so much. That was it just as cute as I could
Yeah,
see.
how did we not pull that out on Memorial
I
Day?
didn't
Yeah,
see
you're
it.
right.
I
You're
didn't
right.
see it. I was so distraught after I saw it afterwards. But what an awesome thing. It's on Facebook, dude. It was so cool. So I'm like, gosh, I got to get that up there. Awesome version. So that was fun.
How old is she?
You know what? I'm going to guess 5, 6.
Wow, that's impressive.
I would have said 10, 12.
I don't know. She could be 10, and I don't know. I could be so wrong. I hope she's not. I hope I'm not.
I hope that's not a bad guess. She sounded
know.
older than that to me.
I don't know. I hope not. It was awesome. Wasn't it just cool as heck? Man, it was just a great way to start the day. Great way to start the day. Dustin DePerk's going to join us. We're going to talk some Indiana basketball. Oh, dude, did you see the audio of Michael Jordan that's come out?
No.
You know, he said that I had nothing to do with Isaiah, whether he was on the team or not.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. Rod Thorne backed him up. Well, this audio comes out yesterday of him from years ago saying, Rod Thorne called me, and I told him that if Isaiah's playing, I am not playing.
Well, he technically
I agree.
did not say that based on what we heard.
I agree.
But
It was-
the account of it is him saying who's playing, and Rod Thorne saying, "Well, if you're asking about who I think you're asking
That was
about,
on
he's
that was
not
on the
playing."
dance.
Right.
But this is not. This is
that's
different
the same
audio.
thing. That's the
This
same
is-
thing.
Well, it is. It basically is, since even though he said that when he says this on this audio, Rod Thorne comes back and says, "Well, Chuck Daly doesn't even want him. He's not playing. He's not even going to be on there. It doesn't matter." So he says the same thing then. So yeah, I don't care. It's
Right.
It's actually just stuff to talk about.
Right. Right.
But it's stuff that people are taking and running. I'm like, and I guarantee you, Mike Jordan says, I don't care. It's the same thing I basically said, that I'm not playing if he's playing. But he told him instantly that he wasn't going to be on there. So it wasn't like after the fact that happened. So
right. The part of it that
nobody wanted to play with him. Nobody did.
That's exactly right. This is what I was surprised about with the way Jordan was very demonstrative, or animated is not the right way to say it, but he was authoritative in how he wanted things done and how he led teams and how he led things. And I'm surprised he didn't just come out and say, "Hey, look, I didn't want to play with the guy." It's that simple. I mean, he had no problem calling him an a-hole. So why would he feel bad about just saying, not only did I not want to play with him, I don't think the rest of the guys on the team want to play with him either, because that's fact. They all kind of said that.
I think
so. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's
I think Chuck Daly already knew. I mean, I think Rod Thorne already knew that. There was two guys that did.
I'm just surprised that he's kind of been that worried about what
I don't
people
think
would
he
think
is.
about it.
I mean, since other people talk about it, just there's nothing else to talk about right now.
That's true.
So just looking for anything to get to. But fortunately, we've got Dustin DePerick that's going to be joining us next. We'll be talking to him on Indiana Sports Beat. You're listening to Coyle and Larry commentary from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Go to thehoosier.com. Get complete coverage of the Hoosier Athletics program. Back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals, of course, on this Wednesday hump day. Joined now by Dustin DePerick from The Athletic. Great piece yesterday. Make sure you follow Dustin. Great coverage of the Indiana beat, as well as a lot of other things. Dustin, how you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. Todd's with me as always. Hope you're managing through coronavirus confinement.
Yeah, I'm surviving, hanging in. I mean, same as everybody else. Starting to get long, right? You know, we're like 11 weeks
Are you growing the Corona beard? I'd love to see Dustin Deperick in a Corona beard. I can't imagine that.
No. I can make it like 4 or 5 days without shaving, and that's the end of it. I get like itchy and stuff, and I can't deal. So
yeah, there's some guys I've seen that have
let
it.
the hair
Todd,
grow
you're not
for a
one of
while
them,
and
but
everything.
I've seen some pictures of people, and I'm like, yeah, you need to go ahead and shave. That's not a good look for you, man.
Yeah, some people shouldn't be bearded. I'm one of them.
Lots going on. There's not a lot going on, but yet there's still a lot going on under the surface, especially always in the basketball and the recruiting world. A nice piece out yesterday on Christian Landers. He's he's reclassifying to 2020. He was on here with us talking about that. That day he decided or made that known that that's going to happen, but it's not a complete done deal as we mentioned that day, but you really pointed out, I think people have not really grasp the entire how the process is working, that he's not completely done, but he's on his way to being done.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I just did that story just because I've always wondered, how do kids do this? It's sort of mind blowing to me. And when you think back I think back to, being in high school, and imagine if you told me, all right, in February of my junior year that I had to go take all of my senior year classes and get them done by the middle of the summer, I'd look at you like you were crazy. I couldn't imagine doing that. But so I just basically called the Landers to find out, okay, how is this working? And I talked to Christian a while back. Indiana's being weird about talking to freshmen now, but he basically told me at the time, hey, I'm starting on the economics class, and this is where this thing is going. Taking 4 classes online on top of just his other studies, obviously, which had to be taken online. Through e-learning, basically, as it was through the last couple of months of the semester. But he's through with an economics class. And as of the last time I talked to him, talked to his dad. He was still working through an English and a government class, and then he's still got a speech class to do. So I'm not sure how much further he might have come along since the last we spoke. But yeah, no, it's an ongoing process. It's one of those situations where you just basically just take them on as online courses. That's the fastest way to get a reclassification done. Basically, he only needed 4 to get the credits necessary, to get the core classes necessary that he needed to be able to call himself a high school graduate and be able to move on. So yeah, no, that's sort of where things stand. Basically, he's just reached the point in terms of signing the letter of intent to say, we know that we're going to get done now. And basically, when he initially announced his recruitment, or initially announced his commitment to Indiana, he had decided at that point that he wanted to reclass. And I think it put it out there at that point that he had intended to reclass, but didn't want to say it definitively until he passed a certain threshold to be able to say, this is definitely going to get done. That I am safe in saying that this is going to be finished. The amount of work I have left is, to the point now where I am sure that I can finish. So that's kind of obviously the point that he reached, is saying, I'm there. I don't have any worries or concerns that I'm not going to make it. It's the same as basically, you sign your letter of intent in November, usually believing that you're going to get your senior classes done. You're not finished yet at that point, but you're obviously saying, I'm far enough along. I don't have any reason to worry that I'm not going to graduate. This is an inevitability, and obviously that's sort of what Christian is sort of determined, is this is inevitable, that it's going to get done. It's far enough along. He's made enough progress so far to know that he's going to get it the rest of the way. So it's time to sign the letter of intent and make things official and make the sort of same moves that you usually make when you're going to be a freshman in college.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this, Todd. Both of us have said that we were neither of us mature enough to have done that. And so just the maturity level that it takes to get through all that stuff, and then coming into college a year early, I'm like, man, I was such a moron. I couldn't have dealt with it, but he's been with these guys a lot, and it's just helping him and his game and helping him grow up a lot quicker, actually.
And a lot of it, Jim, is what we've talked about at length with not just Christian Lander, but a lot of these guys and different people on the AAU circuit has forced or allowed, however you want to look at it, these guys to kind of grow up a little bit and go through the process. It used to be, a long time ago, you would go on your first travel road game on a college campus once you're on a team, and your first road trip might be the first road trip you've really ever been on with a basketball team. And that's just not the case anymore. I mean, these guys travel all over the country playing AAU tournaments all over the place. And, they're spending they're spending the majority of their summers and, late spring, summer, and then almost right up until school starts, traveling all over the country, playing in big time basketball tournaments. So these guys are they're more mature than you and I were back when we were graduating, but still it's a transition it's not easy. I think what we've learned with a lot of the new reclassifications and things that go on is, these guys have the ability to reclassify if they want to. I can remember going back to your high school counselor years ago, and you remember them having you pick out electives and what classes you wanted to take and all that. Well, I guess I didn't. My counselor was smart enough to not let me know. I guess I didn't have to take those classes if I didn't want to. I could have just taken the 4 courses I needed to graduate and gone home for the rest of the day, which is the equivalent of what these guys are doing. But anyway, these guys are more mature. They're different now. They've already gone through a lot of these experiences that you and I and guys our age never had the opportunity to.
Yeah, and Dustin, not only that, but with the departure of Justin Smith, he's going to get even more of an opportunity to grow up next season because obviously, not that we didn't think he was going to see some time as it was. We don't know everybody. Some people think he's going to start. All that will be determined, but he's going to be playing a lot, I think. And now with that departure, and me and Todd talk about this a lot too. We've heard Archie talk about that up tempo and all that. Well, this roster is kind of heading in that direction now, and I think that's something we're going to see, which means you're going to see a lot of guys like whether it's Christian Lander or Anthony Leo or Trey Galloway, all those guys coming in. We're going to see a lot of those guys on the floor early.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Justin's departure, it's weird to consider because you think of all the criticism that Justin gets. I mean, he played the most minutes on last year's team. It's weird to think about that. I mean, he was on the floor the most, obviously played multiple positions, was used at the 3 and the 4 last year. And, he's obviously a guy that could play tempo himself, but what it obviously opens up is you can the combinations you can have, are a lot different basically. And you can go, they're going to have to go 3 guards on more occasions, basically to be able to put a lineup out there. So you have situations where you might have, you could put a Lander and a Finney out there and then a Durham or a Franklin at the 3. Durham is probably is capable of playing every position 1, 2, 3, and he will, imagine have to do so. Franklin obviously I think is going to play some level of 3, which is not. I don't think he had to do that very much last year. I don't think they were in a position where they could do that, where they could move him out there. But I mean, it's certainly a position he's capable of playing. So they're going to have smaller lineups, and like you said, I mean, like Leo will have minutes that he can get at the 2 and the 3. Galloway will have minutes he can get at the 2 and the 3. Geronimo will have minutes there, the 2 and the 3. But also, they're going to have more options because of that 3 spot really being open, and that'll shake things up for sure and give them more opportunities to play around with some different kind of lineups. And again, specifically with 3 guard lineups that will, force, I think, Lander and Finney to be on the floor at the same time. I think that's sort of the question, saying, okay, well, how many minutes is Lander going to play? You're looking at a junior coming back and Rob Finney, who's logged a lot of minutes playing point guard, but Smith's departure opens up more of an opportunity for those two to play together, and it's less of a situation of, okay, who is going to win that job? And you could see Lander stepping in and just winning that job, just being the guy. I mean, there's definitely some areas just in terms of his athletic profile that's a little bit superior to Finney's. But again, Finney's played the position for 2 years, has run a college Big Ten offense for 2 years. Obviously, has gone through some injuries and that's held him back from some of the progress you would have expected him to make if he was completely healthy. But you can potentially just have them on the floor at the same time. It'll help. Obviously, I think if Finney, I think is certainly capable of playing off the ball, and I think it might help him as a shooter, put him more positions where he's getting catch and shoot opportunities, as opposed to having to make a lot more happen off of the bounce. It obviously again makes opportunities for that entire freshman class where we're Justin out there. They're a little bit pinned behind, especially the 3 wings definitely are pinned behind if Smith is getting minutes at the 3, or a lot of minutes at the 3, and then you're still worrying about getting minutes for Jerome Hunter. So now basically you have minutes for Hunter, you have some space for these freshmen, you have space for 3 guard lineups. All of those things have sort of become more possible with Smith out of lineup, which again does not mean that Justin Smith isn't a loss because he was a productive guy. But it does again force a lot of these guys into more early playing time.
And while this COVID-19 pandemic has actually been a blessing for someone like Christian Lander, who's working to reclassify and do that stuff, perfect, because you can't do anything else but study, get all that out of the way. If there's been a negative, it's kept them from doing a lot of the things they would normally be doing basketball wise. So, and that is a little critical, but the way things are looking, it looks like students will be back on campus maybe sooner rather than later. So that will be mitigated. But if someone like that's not able to get in there, they kind of lose those summer reps with the team that they would normally get. And that's got to have an effect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's going to have an effect nationwide. But yeah, no, definitely on the freshmen. They're and you got to imagine everybody's situation's differently. And I don't know what everybody's deal is in terms of who has access to a court or even a driveway at this point, because you can't even go to playgrounds. I don't know. I know in Indianapolis, basically every single court is either, the hoop's off, or there's a board through it. So you don't know who. Like, I know Lander does have access to a gym. Literally, there's a church, I guess, up the block from him that has given him and his dad the key that he's allowed to, just go in, whenever he wants to and get some shots up. But, even then, even if you're getting that sort of ability to get some individual work, you're not getting the teamwork. You're not getting used to
exactly
your
that
teammates,
cohesiveness.
and that's really key.
Yeah. But up to this point, this would probably either be this week right now or next week, when they would actually probably be showing up on campus anyway. Up to this point, and keep in mind, I know things have definitely been different, but up to this point, they haven't missed any team stuff. Maybe Cliff Marshall might have given them some little workout stuff to do, but really it's been real minimal impact up to this point. Now, if they can't get in there in the next 2 weeks, then that'll have a negative effect down the road, I think. But up to this point, there's really not been anything I think these young freshmen would have missed out on.
I think you're right.
Yeah, but I think it's a question of access, though. I mean, I don't know who all has access to what. Lander's fortunate just from talking to him. I mean, he's got a guy who has a gym, that he can go to, and that's the thing.
It's always good to have a guy.
You're not necessarily guaranteed access to that, depending on who you are. Maybe you have a bucket in your yard, maybe you don't.
I'm not trying to be argumentative with you, Dustin, but trust me, we're basketball people. Everyone's always finds a way to find a gym. Believe me.
Hey, Dustin, another thing, with now they've got 2 open schollies for this year still, if I'm correct, and then you've got 3 for 21. I can't, and I keep saying this, I can't imagine them letting both of those go open for this season. There's just no way from a depth standpoint. We saw what the hit they took 2 years ago from injuries and how that can quickly happen. And then, next thing you know, you got 6 guys you can use. So I can't imagine them not bringing somebody in, at least a grad transfer. I just saw Tim sent us in on the text line that from St. John's, a Figueroa kid, that 6'6" wing is reportedly hitting the transfer portal. But there's tons of guys out there. But there's going to continue to be people that surprise. Justin Smith was kind of late. Well, this guy's even later. So there's always going to be people out there.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm sure they'll definitely look in terms of what's out there. It's part of the question is, okay, what do you need? And I think the thing that they could most help is maybe have another guy that you could throw there into 5, so to make sure that Jackson Davis is getting some work at the 4. I'm sure he's going to play at the 5 too with Brunk. That might be an area to look. But I mean, I think you also look back that. Last season, basically, Archie Miller was, in the middle, was saying, we're playing too many guys. We're playing 11 guys, and this is actually too much. And so, there is sort of an issue of making sure that everybody's happy and making sure that everybody's getting minutes. It might help, obviously, to maybe have less of reliance on the freshmen, to go get a grad transfer. But I don't know that it's something that they're definitely going to want, and especially when it comes to getting a bigger guy. I mean, obviously, Purdue was also in a situation where they were looking at that after Matt Harms transferred. Looked around the market, said, you know what? No, I don't like anything that we have. I don't like any of these options. I don't feel like any of these guys are good enough to play for us. So, they might make a similar determination. Like you said, there are still going to be guys who come through. I think COVID-19 is having an effect there. I think there are some guys that are sitting around and thinking, they have a lot of time to sort of spend with their thoughts. And that's, I think, caused some of the guys to maybe leave a little bit later than you would ordinarily expect. So, yes, some guys guys could still hit the market, and I'm sure they'll keep their eyes open to see what's there. But I don't think it's a guarantee either that they're going to take somebody. I mean, it would make sense, but ultimately, I also think that Miller is okay with a little bit of a shorter rotation and not necessarily trying to play 12 guys. He had to play 11 for a while last year, and I think he got tired of doing that.
Another talk a lot about getting older. Teams want to get older. Archie's talked about getting older and staying older. Unfortunately, I don't see this team getting to that point for still a couple more years with these open Scullies and Trace Jackson-Davis. Doubtful will be here after next season. It's possible, but 2 years from now, he's not going to be here for sure. And then you're going to have Al Durham's gone, and so they're still not really. They haven't gotten to that yet. They're still trying to roll to get to where they're getting older, but they're not quite there yet.
No, you're right, and it's been you've had some shakeups, and I think you had sort of a weird place to start where you didn't necessarily have one big class getting you started, and you really look at it even at I guess the 18 class with Langford and all those guys. I mean, I think the only one still on the roster is Finney, right? Finney and Hunter are the two guys out of that 5 that are still on the roster, and Hunter obviously lost a whole season, so he's sort of behind the rest of that class. And you've already lost Forrester and Anderson to transfer out of that group, so you haven't necessarily seen them all sort of coming up together. But yeah, no, it could take a while, and hey, if I've heard people talking, yesterday about Lander possibly being a one and done. So that's another situation where that doesn't necessarily get you any closer to that. There's no guarantee of that happening, certainly, but obviously he's a highly recruited kid, and so it's not entirely out of the question. So if you lose him and Jackson Davis to the NBA after this year, if that's the thing that happens, then yeah, on top of that, you would lose Durham. And so, you have a couple of guys that are going to be veterans, basically potential of Finney being a senior and, Hunter being a junior and Franklin. There's a little bit of experience, but you're still not at a situation where you're loaded with senior and junior type guys. So it's just been sort of a funky class situation for Archie Miller from the time that he built it, from the roster that he inherited and just everything that sort of transpired down the way. You haven't necessarily had a group of 3 and 4 seniors and 3 and 4 juniors together in a class, just sort of getting older together. It just for various reasons just hasn't exactly acted that way.
Dustin, I appreciate you joining us as always. Make sure you give him a follow, especially at The Athletic. Join him on Twitter. Todd's got the Masters going here. We're going to have to shut those birds up, though. They're driving us crazy. Dustin, I can't thank you for joining us as always, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Dustin DePerrick from The Athletic. Make sure you give him a follow and join us there. Dustin, thank you, brother. All right, there's Dustin DePerrick. Lost him already, but, man, looking forward to that. And when we come back, we're going to talk about, getting old and staying old. Leadership. And leadership comes from that. And when you don't have age, you're missing that leadership. We'll talk about that and more. So listening to Indiana Sports Beat. Coy O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Wednesday. Powered by Rivals. Back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Surprised you didn't play something about the birds there, Jimmy.
We're doing today's show from
wow,
Big Cat Rescue.
Freebird. There you go, Freebird. That could have been good. That's it, Freebird. Man, Augusta National going crazy.
I didn't even hear it.
My texts were getting blown up. Well, Steve hit it up. Everybody, I was like, wow, that's funny. Oh,
you people, you see, I'm one with nature. So it doesn't even bother me. I've seen three snakes. I've seen 3 snakes in the last 2 days.
Time out. Whoa.
Yep.
No.
Yep. I know it.
This may upset some people, but there would be 3 dead snakes.
I'm not one with nature when it comes to snakes.
I'm one with a 7-irons when I am one with.
Yeah. It was disturbing.
Any idea what kind they were?
Little, thank goodness. No, obviously I don't know. I'm from Indianapolis. I don't know anything about snakes.
What you mean? You're a city boy, is what you're saying.
Pat Graham and Chris Lawson, the only people I ever saw with snakes.
Pat would pick it up.
Oh my gosh, you kidding me? Pat, those things were nothing. Pat's snakes were like 12 feet long and 5 inches thick.
I grew up in them hollers over by Borden.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Oh, man. Trey Saxon Davis, I talked about him yesterday, how we can see some leadership coming from him. It just comes out, and that's going to be so needed because, and just talking with Dustin about this team they're not really getting older because of the turnover. They're kind of not getting older. And when you don't get older, you can think back to your days, man. You always had seniors. There was always seniors and juniors, 3-year guys there. They're not always having that. And that makes a huge difference on a team.
Well, you've got a real catch-22 from a fan base perspective because they want you to recruit all of the guys that are rated nationally. They want that recruiting class. The fan base, wants the recruiting class to be ranked, number 1 in the country. Like they want all of those top guys, but none of those top guys are going to stay for very long. And that's just a fact. So you can't have both. And that's I keep saying this, and I'm not trying to overhype it because if anyone knows me personally, they will know I don't get too excited about I don't get overly excited when it's not warranted or due. about recruits coming in or the potential of a team next year and all that. Like, so many different things have to happen. And one thing I think a lot of people overlook and don't think about is they think right now about the guys who played last year on the floor. Rob Finney as an example, Al Durham as an example. They think about how they played last year and how that's going to translate to next year. And really the development over the summer. I mean, these guys have the opportunity to be totally different players. And that's kind of what we're talking about in getting older. Like, these guys having the opportunity to develop and have another summer to work out and get better at different things and different aspects of the game. And, it's a catch-22 when it comes to the recruiting side, because I love this team coming in because we've got a bunch of guys, and I don't mean this negatively, I really don't, but we got a bunch of guys, or several guys that are not ranked all that high nationally. So they're not even talked about as being, one and dones or even two and dones. And that to me is a positive. And I think they're all going to be contributors. Look, we could sit here, you and I could sit here and debate every single day until the season starts next year on who not just the starting lineup's going to be, because I think we all agree Archie's starting lineup doesn't necessarily mean the guys that play the most minutes, but who the guys that play the most minutes are going to be. And we could change that all season long. I mean, all summer long, we can make changes to that.
Absolutely. And those changes are going to happen. They happen naturally. I mean,
we hope they do. We hope they do. I mean, that means guys are developing over the summertime
and gaining experience and pushing each other and competing. We haven't seen a lot of that change, and we haven't seen a lot of competition, as much competition. Rob Finney has not been pushed. Now we're going to have Christian Lander here helping to push him. It helps each other. I mean, Christian needs to continue to develop. Rob needs to continue to develop. They all need to continue to develop. And you need that competition to push you further each time. And that's
now
what they
I
have
think
to have.
Now I think they have it for the first time in these young guys' careers, for sure. But they're like you mentioned it, and it's a great, like, this is a terrific topic to sit and debate, because there are different kinds of leadership. There are leaders who are very vocal and animated. Michael Jordan, we just watched the Last Dance documentary. I mean, he's very animated, and there's no gray area as to what he wants done, because he tells you. Then you've got other guys, and I always use him as an example because he's the best teammate I ever had, but Calbert Cheney's a different kind of leader. He very rarely ever says anything. He doesn't have to. But if he does, it's poignant, and it's got a meaning to it, and you better accomplish whatever it is he's asking you or telling you to do. And there's just different kind of leaders. And I think what Indiana has, right now, is they've got Trace Jackson Davis, who I think is going to become, or already has become, the natural leader of the team. I don't think he's very vocal. I don't think we obviously know he's not super animated. That's one of his qualities and characteristics. We've got Rob Finney, who's your point guard, not very talkative, not very animated, doesn't get in guys' faces a whole lot. And they're really the lack of communication is, yes, it's detrimental, but it's really just more of a description of those guys' characteristics into how they lead. These guys coming in, if you've ever watched games live and seen Anthony Leal and Trey Galloway play, I think you would understand these guys are much better communicators. Trey Galloway is the son of a high school coach. He understands communication. He understands talking back and forth. I think we'll see a lot more of that with these freshmen coming in. Now, it's not going to be an instant snap your fingers change, but I think we'll see the leadership definitely improve. And I'm going to beat the dead horse again, but I'm going to say Justin Smith's departure is going to help the leadership of this team. And I don't mean that to be negative about Justin Smith, but it's just facts in my opinion.
It sure seems apparent. I mean, when you got and I don't want to keep talking about one stupid incident, but the incident that we've talked about.
But it's pretty telling. It's pretty telling.
And because that's the next guy you're supposed to be bringing up, and that's you're not teaching him. You're not teaching him leadership skills. You're not helping him. You're as a matter of fact, it's like two polar opposites banging. It doesn't work.
If you've been in sports before, you would understand the difference in this. So Michael Jordan punching Steve Kerr in the face is a better leadership move than than Justin Smith telling Trace Jackson Davis to shut the F up.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you've been in sports, you understand what I mean by that. But because it doesn't seem like that would be a good leadership move.
Yeah.
But look at it years down the road with Steve Kerr, who's an insanely successful coach at what he's doing right now, and he's pretty proud of that moment.
Oh yeah, it's probably not going to be on any leadership books.
It's not in book. It's not in a chapter in the book.
But it's one of those things. It's kind of like when you're watching the movie As Good as guys daggone the Jack Nicholson movie where you can't handle the truth. Where he's like, well,
oh yeah,
he's like, well, everything's in the regulations. John he asks, well, how you get to the chow line? Where's that in the regulations book?
Right.
Well,
yeah.
you just kind of know. You figure it out. But,
and that's, I mean, that you get my point with that. Like, it's like there's just certain things that happen that yeah, you're totally right. You don't want to make that big a deal out of that one incident, but you can't overlook it. And I think not having that elephant in the room of the guy who's a senior who's supposed to be the leader and does play the most minutes of anyone on the team kind of has a bad attitude, to put it plain and simple. He's a great kid, but kind of has a bad attitude.
Yeah, and I'm just excited to see all these young guys coming in because we know that they can shoot. They have shot well in high school, and of course, the only difference is on the college floor is the 3-point line's a little farther back. That and the pressure of the game and the speed of the game. But I think that these guys have all played with the big time players enough that that's not going to be an issue. It's going to be fun if this team can shoot. This team will be really fun to watch. I'll be honest with you. These teams, these 3 years, they haven't been fun to watch. There's not a lot of fun. Winning is fun, but when you're grinding them out all the time, you want to see them where they're not grinding every game. And I don't think they want to grind every game either.
Yeah, and you know, your point, like I've thought a lot about this. Obviously, it was my knack and kind of the way I got myself on the floor in being able to shoot the ball. But when you look at it, I'm going to say the 4 and 5 position. Let's just assume that Joey Brunk and Trey Jackson Davis start, okay? Because both of those guys started every game they could last season. So if you assume those two guys are starting, they're not going to be shooters. They're neither. Like I don't care what kind of development they end up having. I shouldn't say that. I would hope that they could, but let's not assume that they're going to be. You're going to have to get all your shooting out of the 1, 2, and 3 positions, and so that's why I truly believe. And I have been, you know, we did every game last year. We do a post-game show for every game, and I am a gigantic Rob Finney fan. So I don't want this to come across as negative. But if Rob Finney does not improve the consistency of his shooting, Christian Lander will take his position and start over the top of him. And all 3 of these kids coming in from Indiana, Lander, Leal, and Galloway, will all 3 start.
And as dumb as this sounds, we talked about, Rob needs that. He needs to be pushed to get better. He hasn't had that. So it's not to say you can't push yourself and be pushed in practice. You can, but it's not the same. You can't manufacture that right to the edge competition.
Not even, you can't even come close to it. You can't even come close to it. Like, it's when you've got the ability every day in practice to have someone that is pushing you, that wants your minutes, that and has a legit shot of getting them, it makes you practice harder. It makes you practice a little bit better. And there's something to that. I mean, I like the opportunity that for all the freshmen have coming in. That's the one thing they should be the most excited about, in my opinion, because if they come in and can prove it, they're going to get the minutes. I mean, Archie is not afraid to put freshmen on the floor.
The funny thing is, you think he had a difficult time last year with guys finding minutes for people. What the hell are you going to do next year? You got more guys that can play.
Not to cut you off, but when you talk about the 2 scholarships, given the financial situation of the pandemic and all that, do they just bank them? I mean, save the school some money?
You know, as crazy as it sounds, and I just because you need bodies, I can't imagine that. But where the hell are they going to play? I'm like, well, man, there's going to be a lot of minutes already getting squeezed by guys now. So
I said it a minute ago. We could debate until the first game of the season next year. Every day we could debate who should start and who should get to play the most. And there's already not enough minutes. There's not enough minutes in a game right now for the team I see they have. Let alone I'm swear to you, the Justin Smith situation for the development of the overall team, the Justin Smith situation could be a benefit to this team.
I believe that, and a lot of people are going to say, well, of course, or the loss. There's so many intangibles that you're talking about that people, if they don't understand, the intangibles are crucial.
I said this when Nogel Eastern left Purdue. For the overall development of that team, he was such a good defender, you almost had to play him. But he was maybe the worst offensive player in all of college basketball, and so he's a real detriment when it comes to them on the offensive end of the floor. So I said it when he transferred from Purdue, they might be better off without him. Yes, he does some real positive things. I have to get my daily Moneyball quote in, but they had to get rid of Pena at first base, even though he was going to be an all-star. They were a better team by putting Hatteberg at first base. You got to play Hattie.
It's true because they had to get rid of the best player on the team to make the team better. As stupid as that sounds, and it does sound stupid because it's not comprehensible on the outset of it.
Look, getting rid of Trace Jackson Davis would not make Indiana's team better. He's a different kind of better player on the team.
Yeah.
But there are circumstances when getting rid of the best or one of the best players on the team helps the overall development of the team.
That's when you talk about the total of the parts as opposed to the entity.
I mean, just to go back and reference it real quick, Romeo was an example of that. When the development of that team, as long as Romeo was on that team, was not going to get to its peak, in my opinion. He's just a different kind. He's a tough player to coach.
And it wasn't just that. You had two players on that team that were kind of going in opposite directions. Maybe three, if you want to throw Justin Smith in there. Devontae Green in there. Man, you got guys going in all kinds of different directions. What the hell?
Yeah. And Juwan Morgan, that was a tough situation.
He's getting it to where he won't have to worry about that. But he's a year away from that still. At least a year. He's probably there now as far as the guys. The guys, no. The guys that are there, they want to be there. So I don't mean that the way that sounded. He's got the guys he needs, but I mean, he's still getting older and getting all his guys, and he's still another year away. But the roster right now is set up to play. And now we talked about this too. It's set up to win. Now you got to win. You got no excuses, man. We got to take a break. We'll talk about that more when we come back. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat. Coyle Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. We're back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tea time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Coyle here with you as always on this Hump Day. It's May 27. Powered by Rivals. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com. Alec Lasley's got great coverage of Indiana basketball, and the guys killing it there. What were we talking about right before we left? We had to take a quick break. I think we were talking about Trace Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, just the leadership overall of the team, and you know, how this team looking into next year. I mean, we're excited about it. Like, we can sit here and talk about it to the point where we get so excited about, you know, it's like playing fantasy football. I mean, we can play it with these rosters and think about the guys coming in. The real unknown and the fun part is, you know, we've not seen a lot of the guys we think are going to be a big piece in the puzzle play against this level of competition. And so it's all kind of a guessing game until that point gets here. But then, you know, I guess I haven't even looked at it. Has the roster, or I'm not the roster, the schedule come out for the beginning of the season next year yet? Because you remember how, you know, everybody took a bloodbath in complaining about the roster or the schedule last year.
I think it won't. It usually comes out a little later in the summer.
I mean, that'll be a big
and of course, now that's going to be a big change. There's probably going to be a lot of changes to that too.
Because I used to play in the Maui Classic, right?
We were supposed to
be playing in the Maui Classic.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Really?
I don't. Yeah, that's November, man. All that I don't know.
So if that's the case, then we're saying football season's not going to be.
Well, no, I'm not saying
because if football season's taking place, there would be no reason to not have the Maui.
Yeah, I don't want people to say, "Oh, it was Jim Coyle." I don't know. I'm like, hopefully. I mean, that would be great. But yeah, it's.
I don't see why it wouldn't take place. I mean, let's put it this way: if things like that are not happening, then I don't think the football season will be fully taking place. I don't think, I don't see those things, especially when you look at, I mean, Maui, it's only one small tournament within all of sports that we're talking about. But I mean, Maui would be one thing for sure that wouldn't be that big a deal without fans, because that gym is so small.
Oh no,
very few fans travel over there anyway. It's based on TV money. So that's one of the things. I guess travel and getting there is difficult.
Yes, you got that. Plus, you got all the fans
teams
that
have
they're
their
going
own
to
planes
lose for the travel and all that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just there's not that many fans that go. There's really not. I mean, that gym only seats like 3,000 people.
Yeah, but when you've got 8 teams, if say you've just got 1,000 people from each team, there's 8,000 people that come visit. That's a lot of money, man. You extrapolate that out. That's a bunch of money. It's like everything, but it's like everything else. You're right. If everything else is up and going, then what the hell's the difference between Maui and anything else? It's
right.
Not. So it's going to be interesting. I mean,
but that early schedule, when you've got this many new pieces that are, you know, you're trying to get to all play well together, that easy schedule early in the year might be a good thing. Also, you can look at it from the flip side. You know what? Throw these guys into the fire and let them play against Kentucky and everybody else, and let them play against the best teams in the country.
Yeah, I agree. Man. And I know that I saw a picture. I think a group of guys was at Anthony Leal's house. Maybe it was Memorial Day. Joey Bronk, I think Armand Franklin. Trying to think who all was there. There was like 5, 6, 7 of them over there.
They are going to destroy the Leal's grocery budget. The Leal's grocery budget. You talk about having the opportunity to have the school give somebody money.
I was going to say,
get reimbursed.
I was going to say, you can have training table over there.
They should get reimbursed for the amount of money they're going to spend in training table.
I'm going to have training table over there. Well, maybe they are. Maybe this is training table for them right now during this summer quarantine period.
I mean, think about it as a kid, getting a good meal at somebody's house right now. It would be, but I mean, I didn't see what you're talking about, but I would be excited to hear if all of those guys were there. I know those guys don't all live around here, so it'd be nice to hear they're back on campus.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard Deron Davis when we had him on the show, over a month ago. We heard him say, I mean, those guys have apartments. I mean, that's not considered. They're allowed to be there. I mean, they've got apartments. My son has an apartment on campus. Like, those people are still here.
Yeah, if you're off campus, you're fine. It was Indiana ran everybody off.
It's just the dorms. I mean, those guys are not in the dorms.
And unless the freshmen don't even stay in dorms anymore, do they? For basketball.
Look, these things are so different nowadays than they used to be. When I was a freshman, everybody had to stay in a dorm for 1 year.
Yeah,
there was only one exception.
Let me guess.
Jay Edwards.
Oh, really? That's not the guess I was going to make. I was going to guess Pat Knight.
So good. No. Well, that one, yes, also, but
that doesn't count. Doesn't even count.
Prior to that, yeah.
Right? Doesn't even count. I got you. Yeah, that didn't work out too well for Indiana, but But it's funny. But yeah, these guys getting together, and it's good to see that from a camaraderie standpoint because didn't see a lot of that over the last 3 years.
Yep, addition by subtraction.
Football's still going on. A lot of offers been popping out. Indiana, go to thehoosier.com, and we've got that covered for you and keeping a track on commitment lists and all that stuff. Alec Lasley doing a tremendous job covering IU basketball at thehoosier.com. Go there. Jimmy's kicking in too, man. Jimmy's doing an excellent job with the daily. Thumbs up, brother. You're killing it. But, man, the weather's nice. We're starting to get there. Things are loosening up. And there's just hope that we're going to get back to some semblance of normalcy.
Well, and we said this, probably about a month ago, close to the beginning of May. We said, we'll know a lot more June 1st, and we'll probably know a lot more July 1st. And all that's still accurate. I mean, we're learning a little bit more and more, and things are opening up. I think, obviously, they're being cautious in how they open things, and I think they'll be very cognizant of if there's any issues or stuff flares up real quickly, then we'll be shutting it back down. But hopefully they do it so cautiously that we don't have those issues and just continues to open.
Yeah, you saw if you watch the news, man, you saw a lot of people out at the lakes and stuff. I was like, oh my God, you still got the boxer, Mayweather. Mayweather was at some club, and they were just clubbing it up, man. I'm like, whoa, wait, wouldn't they open bars up?
I don't know what was the picture that we saw of the people in the pool and all that stuff. Like that was all over.
Oh, the Ozarks.
That was ridiculous. Okay, look, I'm all for. I'm all for a restaurant opening up and you go in and doing outdoor seating and all that. Like everybody cautiously going into it. That thing was ridiculous. Like those people, that's just totally. That's just having no respect for the frontline workers and the hospital worker. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And for us to have the stuff that we keep talking about this fall and all that, boy, I don't understand why people don't understand. Just slow your roll, man. It's all you got to do. Just slow your roll. No one's being asked to stay home in the room anymore, but slow your roll. Try to take some precautions. These young kids, again, but understand it ain't you we're worried about. We're not worried about you dying if you get sick, which hopefully you won't. But It's the people you might infect if you get it. But, oh, well, who am I? I'm not Dr. Fossey, so nobody's going to listen to me.
Hey, we're doing our part.
That's right.
I'm not around anybody.
That's right. There's social distancing. And
except for the birds, unless they can get it from the birds.
Oh, man. The birds are great.
I'll keep the door
birds are
closed
great.
tomorrow.
Oh no! Normally it's perfect. It's like a nice little subtle Master-esque. Well, that one just went nuts. He was either really happy or he was really pissed off at you or something. I don't know.
And they're nowhere near me, so that's how used to it I just must be because I didn't even hear it.
Maybe it was Dustin. Who knows? Maybe Dustin was down there at Augusta.
I thought you guys were waving me off like.
So I'm sitting there going,
all of a sudden I'm playing
man.
along with you. You're telling me to shut
up. Golfing out today?
Yes, sir. You know it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day out there. I hope everybody gets to get outside and enjoy that. Is the great thing about a Monday holiday, the best thing about it is not even the Monday holiday. It's the fact that the week is so stinking short after that. It's almost like having two holidays. And I'm looking
usually, except for it's only Wednesday. If today was Friday, your statement would make a lot of sense. But this week seems to be creeping by. But I'm not mad at it. It's been beautiful, and I've hit a lot of golf balls.
Well, we're going to do it more, man. We cannot thank everybody enough for joining us. Dustin DePerrick for joining us here on the program today, and I look forward to doing this all again tomorrow. We appreciate you guys joining us, and make sure you hit us up. Go to thehoosier.com for complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers. And until tomorrow, for Jimmy John, Todd, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.